there's enough other data coming out lately that we've seen not a lot, but little bits of improvement. Today we're on day 8 in a row of being in the green a little bit, right?
Welcome to another installment of Mortgage Minute. And in a world where headlines tend to do more to terrify than clarify, it can be confusing to know how to make the best decisions when it comes to buying a house. Now, this is why we are offering our insights on a regular basis here on Mortgage Minute. Who are we to do such a thing? Well, my name is Matt Thomas. I'm a local realtor. My co-host is Brian Dewald, a local mortgage lender. And both of us are here serving the Denver metro areas and surrounding areas. So today we're looking at going over a few real-time topics that are most poignant for home buying in today's market so that you can make the best decisions for you and your family if you're considering buying a home in the near future. So we'll be going over, I think Brian has for us a couple of things. We'll be going over housing statistics, prices, and then some news about an oil cartel, of course, OPEC, and how that actually impacts home buying and inflation. So Brian, why don't you lead us into our first topic here?
Yeah, so let's jump into the OPEC Plus conversation first here. And, a lot of times oil and gas doesn't have a whole lot to do with home buying, but the fear is that they're cutting production by a little over 1 million barrels a day. They're doing that because they're a little bit upset with the government by not fulfilling their promise to refill the reserves once oil got back under $70 a barrel. So anyway, the challenge there is that it may sort of increase the time frame for us to kick this inflation, down a few gears. We keep hoping and thinking that we're going to see some better numbers when it comes to inflation. And then, of course, we get news like this that could, I'm not saying it's gonna, but it could just prolong that a little bit. So certainly when that relates to the mortgage world, right? Mortgages hate inflation. So as we start to see this news come up, we're just keeping an eye on things to see how that comes into play. Now, the good news is that there's enough other data coming out lately that we've seen not a lot, but little bits of improvement. Today we're on day 8 in a row of being in the green a little bit, right? So instead of in the red. So the 10-year treasury is down a little bit, which is good for us. Mortgage bonds, actual mortgage prices have improved a little bit, like I said, over the last 8 days. So, we'll keep our ear to the track when it comes to the OPEC stuff and see if that has a much of an impact. It could. We don't know that for sure. But again, the good news is we're improving and have been for a little
Yeah, that's great. And it's interesting too. I think this is why we go over things like this, right? To think, maybe you're just ambivalent or maybe unaware that, as you're buying a house, there are all these, different factors that go into what makes rates go up or down or whatever. And so, things that are happening in Saudi Arabia and decisions made by foreign countries sometimes can have an impact here. Hopefully, again, that they don't, but, one never knows. So it's things that we're keeping an eye on and obviously trying to keep you guys informed about. And so, Brian, what's going on with the housing prices and statistics?
Yeah, so this is a little bit, Denver's on a big scale, a lot more macro than the entire country, of course. So these are some national stats, but in 2023 in March, there were 563 active listings nationally, which is about half of what it was pre-pandemic, right? So March of 2019. Just goes to show that we're still seeing a lack of inventory, which suggests we're not going to see a housing crash. There's some other entities that I follow, Black Knight, CoreLogic, Case-Shiller. Case-Shiller does a lot of tracking on cash deals, as well as the FHFA, which is a Federal Housing and Finance Administration. All of those have reported a little bit of growth in terms of prices, and again, nationally, in March here. So we're not to where we were in the peaks, but there's nothing out there that suggests anything remotely close to a housing crash.
Well, and we'd have to have that inventory. And obviously, we've talked about this in past episodes where, the reason we talk about the impact of inventory or why inventory is so low in part is because, there's people that are, they've got great rates. They may not feel inclined to move. People are being able to work remotely, and we've touched on that, for years now. And I think that's one of those things that, keeps people, maybe makes them reconsider when they go, gosh, I'd like to move up or make a move out of convenience. But instead they say, well, maybe it's not in the cards at the moment. So we see fewer listings coming on the market. And again, to have any type of a real, like a crash or something even related to that, you're going to have to see a lot more inventory and a big reason for people to have to sell.
I should I should see some housing stats come out here shortly as far as new construction stuff. So we'll probably have that on the docket here in a week or two. But that will further kind of show some of the craziness that we're seeing with lack of inventory.
Very good.
So,
well, hopefully, again, this has been another sort of illustration of all the different things that go into what makes a housing market tick and what makes the mortgage rates go up and down, and sort of how all these different things factor into, the last, we looked at the post-pandemic boom, and it was just go, go, go. And, and it looked like the switch was just cranked over to on in terms of the real estate market, right? But when you take a step back and you have a more normalized market, you are watching a lot of factors to kind of see which way things go. So again, that's our goal here. We'd love for you to subscribe and stay tuned. So that, even click the notification bell, as you probably are well aware of how to do that if you watch any YouTube at all. But we want to encourage you to do that, because this is when we put out these Mortgage Minute updates. There's usually something that's very pertinent and in the news. I guess if that's all you have, we'll sign off, and you kind of give us an indication of what might be coming up that we'll be watching as we move ahead, and look for those next episodes coming up. Thanks, Brian.
Sounds great.
We'll see ya.
Thanks again.